Yo, what's going on, everyone? My name is James, and welcome back to another episode in my Discord bot tutorial series. In the last episode, we went over how to set up the bot in the Discord website. We went over creating the index.js and creating two commands, ping and uptime. And we set up the .env file for the bot login. If you have not seen that video yet, I highly recommend watching that before you go on to this one, because you might get a little confused. But anyway, in this episode, we're going to be going over API requests. So basically, there's websites out there that have loads of data, and they will send it to you in JSON format if you send a request. And then you can cipher through this data that they send and pick out what you want, and then you can send it into your Discord server using your Discord bot. So for example, the first one we're going to be using is a random user API, which is going to make up a random person, give them a first name, last name, a country, a fake cell phone number, a fake username, password, all that stuff. And we're going to look at it and see what we want to send as a random message. So let's get right into it. Let's go under our commands directory and create a new file called returnRandom.js. Okay, so the first thing we gotta do before we actually write the command is make sure we have Axios installed. So what we're gonna do is npm install Axios. That is going to handle our HTTP requests. It makes it very easy. I already have it installed, but make sure you do that before continuing here. So at the top, you're gonna do const Axios equals require Axios. Semicolon, nice and neat up there. And since this is a command, we can actually copy and paste one of our previous commands, since it's the same setup for every single command. Just gotta change the metadata. So the name is return random, and it's going to reply with a random API request with random API data. That sounds better. So we're also going to make the run async, and we're going to await the reply because we want to send a message first before continuing on, just to let the user know that we are working on getting them their data. So we could do something like fetching user data. Just like that. And then after this, we will have a helper function, which we are going to call here, but we're actually going to write the function outside of this module.exports. So let's call it fetch random user data. It's going to be async, feed the interaction, and just like so. We are going to put a try catch block in here because we're going out. We're doing a GET request, and it's possible that it can fail or have an error if something's wrong with the website we're getting a request from. So we want to catch that and see what the problem is. So first in the try block, we're actually going to do the GET request. So it's going to be const response equals await axios.get, and I actually have the URL already picked out. So it is, put it like this, https://randomuser.me/API. And this exact link is going to send a JSON file with a bunch of data on it. And we are awaiting this because we do not want to continue any further until we get this data. Otherwise, our code will crash. So I can show you what this looks like. This is that exact link that I just put there. This is the JSON file. You can see it starts with results or info. We're going to be going into the results, and you can also manipulate the link here to give you multiple users. That's why there's a 0 here, because it could be 0 through 30 or whatever, but we're just going to stick with the default link. Just give us one user. And for example, you have name, Maria, You have like a city, San Pablo, Mexico. You have a random username, Yellow Peacock. And if I refresh this, it'll give me another completely random user. So it's random every single time. It will never be the same data twice. And it's taken a little while, it looks like. Probably because it's finals week, and I'm sure there's a lot of students using this API for their projects. So there you go. This is more like a completely random, completely different from before. There's also a picture, so you can have like a fake picture too, which is pretty funny. So that's what this link gives us. So we're going to be using this link and manipulating it so that way we can get the exact data that we want. So first a semicolon there. And then we're going to continue on with extracting the user, or extracting the data. So we're going to do const user data. And what we want is the response dot data dot results, and then it sends it as an array of users. So we just want that first one, that 0, which I just showed you right here. So results and then 0. And then we get into all the juicy stuff here. So that's what this is. Data dot results and then 0. Okay, so hopefully that's clear. And now we're going to create like a message string based off of this data. So const message equals, and then some backticks. So random user, and then we're gonna do user data. We're gonna use that data, and then we're gonna go under the name tab, and then we're gonna do the first for first name, and then we're going to do almost the same thing, user data dot name and then last name, so that we can get a full name right there. And then we will do let's do user data dot, we could do dot login dot username. How about that? So we can see what this person's username is. So that should work. Now that we have that, we're going to do an await interaction dot edit reply with this new message. So what this is going to do is it is going to change this message to what we have here, and it is not going to continue on with the code until it completely changes this out and on Discord. So after that, I think we make the catch block next. Yeah, so catch the error, and we're just gonna do like a console.log or console.error, and then we're gonna do error fetching random user data, and then we'll just feed it that error message. And then we can also do an await interaction dot edit reply failed to fetch random user data. This is for us, the developer. This shows up in our console log, and this is for the end user, so they know something went wrong when they use the command. So that looks good. We just have to take this function and then put it up here in the run. And we just have to feed it the interaction, so it knows who it's interacting with, who did the command. And that should be good. So now we save the file, Control S, and then we do node index, and then it should say registered command return random. And now just make sure you go into Discord. You're gonna have to restart it first, most likely, so I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, I just restarted Discord, and now I'm gonna be doing that command /return random. And now you can see it says fetching user data. It says that almost immediately, so we know it's like getting that data, and right now it's taking a lot longer than it usually does, but after like 10 seconds or so we should have that. There it is. Random user Macy L Zuzu, and their username is happysnake259, and you can see it edited that original message. Sweet, so that works. We could do it again just to make sure that it's completely random every single time. I will let that cook for a second. Okay, and you can see another user, random user has appeared, Lair Ramos, Happy Peacock 854. So that's pretty cool. You can go through here and like return like any random data you want. You could probably return the image. And yeah, so that's it for that API. And I wanted to show you this cool website as well. So on GitHub, I will link this in the description. There are a bunch of APIs very similar to this that have random data that you can just go in and take what you want. Like this one has cocktail recipes, meal recipes. Here's some games and comic stuff. So there's like Chuck Norris database jokes, Clash of Clans info. There's like a deck of cards. A bunch of random stuff. Fetch a geeky programming related joke. So that's kind of cool. And there's all sorts of stuff. So I'm just going to show you another example and one that doesn't need a key. It is going to be useless facts. So let's go back over here. So let's just create a new command for this one. You could also just replace this with it. Let's call it uselessfact.js. And then we will just copy and paste. And then replies with random fact, fetching random fact. And we can rename this to fetch random fact. And then the URL for this is going to be, first let me show you the page. There we go. Here's the page that we're going to be using. So you can just get a random useless fact with this attached to this URL, or you can get today's useless fact with this. Pretty self-explanatory. I will also link that page in the description. So let me get the correct link here. So it is this one, uselessfacts.api, the thing that I just showed you. And then instead of user data, let's call this, hold on, random fact. And when we go to this URL in the website, this is what we get this time. So instead of like the data, the 0 and all that stuff, we just get ID, text, source URL. So what we're going to be aiming for is just the text for this one. So all we got to do is response dot data dot text. And that should give us the random fact by itself. So these are backticks, so I can do like that. And then that should be good. So we didn't have to change much, and this should give us a random fact. Edited command return random. Whoops, I forgot to use this fact. There we go. And now we go into Discord, random fact. Is that what I called it? Useless fact. Wait, no, I just called it, yeah, useless fact. Okay, so I gotta restart Discord real quick. Okay, I just restarted Discord real quick, and now I'm gonna do the useless fact command. And fetching random fact, and it was a lot quicker this time. So the random fact is camels have 3 eyelids to protect themselves from below sand, which is pretty cool. There's a couple other things we can change here, like error fetching useless fact data. because if you keep the messages the same, it's going to get confusing when you're trying to debug and you're like, you're going into the wrong file for debugging. So you want to make sure you change everything you need to. The last API thing I wanted to go over is APIs with keys. So like 99% of the time, if it's like a free API, but it requires a key, then you're gonna have to sign up, make an account. But you can obviously see that this one's free. I think you get up to 90 uses of the data with your key per month. So as long as you don't use it that often, then you'll be good. So you can just fill this out, create your own account. So I'm gonna do this real quick and then I'll be right back. Okay, so instantly after creating an account, you get access to the API, you get your API key. So I'm gonna visit my dashboard, and as you can see, it takes you right to your key. So I'm gonna copy this for now, but then I will reset it later. Oh yeah, here it is, the API request. So as long as you don't use this more than 100 times in a month, then you're fine. So I'm gonna go back into Visual Studio. I'm going to go to my environmental variables, and I'm going to do weather stack API key, and I'm going to paste that there and save it. And now I'm going to create a new command. We're going to call it let's just call it weather.js. Okay, so to start off, we are going to import or require Axios for this command as well. But what we're also going to need for this one, since this API requires a key, is we're going to need to process our .env file, environmental variables. So we're going to have to put that at the top as well, this little line right here. And then after that, we're going to create a variable for the weather stack API key. And then we're just going to make it process env, and then whatever you named it in the .env file. In my case, I named it weather stack API key. So just like that should be good. And then we can start to make the actual command. So I'm going to pull this from ping, just like so, and then change the metadata. So this is going to be weather, and the description can be replies with the current weather. And then we're going to need to turn this into an asynchronous function, and we're going to await the reply. It's going to say fetching weather data, and then we're going to have the helper function right under here, and then we can actually create it right outside the exports. So we're going to call it const fetch random weather data asynchronous function. And so the first thing we're going to check is if there is no weather API key, because if you don't have your key, then you can't access this data. So we're going to console error missing weather stack API key in environmental variables. And then we can do an await interaction edit reply, just so that the end user also knows the reason it's missing, and then return. And then we're gonna do, so if it gets past to this point, then the key should be fine. So we're gonna send some options that we would like with our request. So it's going to be a get method, and the URL is right here, like so. With backticks, it should be this link right here, and then a comma after that as well. And then here are some params which you can customize to your liking. First, we're going to need the access key, which will be weather stack API key, another comma. And then for the units, by default, I believe it is Celsius. So if you want it to be Fahrenheit, then you're just going to put an F here for units. Otherwise, it should be Celsius, or you can make this a C, I believe. But we're going to leave it like so. And then your query. So in my case, I want to get New York, New York. So I would type something like that. But if you wanted like, I don't know, Los Angeles, California, you would do something like that for whatever city you need. You can look at every city that's available on the website. It should say in the documentation, but I'm just going to leave it as New York, New York. And then we're going to do a comma here, a semicolon here, and we're going to add our try catch block. So we're going to put the response into a variable, await axios.request, and then throw in our options. And then constant weather data will be what we receive. And we're going to do a little check after this point. So if we didn't get any weather data or it's invalid, then we will await interaction, edit reply. Invalid weather data has been received. Try again. And then log the error. Invalid weather data response. Something like that. And then weather data. Just so we could see what it was. Okay. So that should be good. So if we get past this point, then we have the actual data that we need. So we're going to create the message now. Message. We're going to make it equal to weather in. Whoops, forgot this. Okay, weather data dot location dot name, and then we could do weather data location dot region. And then we're just gonna have a, this is just gonna be what I like putting for the weather. So I'll put the temperature, the feels like, the weather and humidity. You can feel free to just do like one or two of these, or pick your own from the API. So first I'll do the temperature. So weather data dot current for the current stats, and then temperature. That should be good. I should put a % there, and then if you want to be fancy, you could put your units after the temperature and the feels like so. So that should be good. I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to await interaction.edit reply, and then trim the message just in case. So that should give us a pretty nice message in the Discord channel. We have to do our catch block now though. Catch the error, and console error fetching weather data, and throw the error. And we are also going to apply to the user. Get a reply. An error occurred while fetching weather data. Okay. So that should be it for this command. Now let me just clear and node index. Logged in, registered the command. And now we're going to restart Discord real quick so the command actually shows up. Okay, so I just restarted Discord, and now I'm going to do that /weather command we just made, and fetching weather data. Oh, Okay, I completely forgot to put the actual function name down here and feed it the interaction. That is why it's not doing anything. So let's try that again. Actually, we have to restart the bot first and then restart. And then do the command again, /weather, fetching weather data, and then it changes the message into weather in New York, temperature 66, feels like 66, sunny, and 29% humidity, just like that. And if you don't want this weird indent here, you could just go back over to the message we created and put this all in one line and just put new lines before each like section. New line, put one here, new line, and last one right here, like so. And then we can go back to Discord, restart the bot first, and then go back to Discord, do /weather, and you'll have it all even like this. So that's it for this episode. Hopefully you can take what you learned and go find some other interesting APIs where you can grab their data and put it into your bot. I will link this website down below. As you can see, there's a bunch of different categories with so much data just to be explored and used. If it does require a key, it'll typically say under authentication if it needs an API key. If it doesn't, it'll just say no. And even if it does require a key, most of the time you just got to sign up for a free account and then you're free to use it. But yeah, thank you for watching. I will have more episodes like this out in the series, and if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. And yeah, thank you.